shifting, chromatic scale, fingerings, all important. So I'm going to talk about fingering just a little bit. Left-hand fingering, what I consider to be efficient fingering, and I'm going to use the chromatic scale. Everybody knows what a chromatic scale is. It's just half steps going all the way up and through the octave. But I'm going to use it as a vehicle to teach efficient fingering. So on a bass, and it requires some spread, but in my experience in years of teaching, everybody can do this to a certain point, is spread our fingers one finger per fret, or in this case, fretless, but you know what I mean. I'm on a D string, E flat, to E, F, F sharp, E flat, E, F, and F sharp. And then here's the critical thing for fingering. Notice I've got my fingers spread pretty evenly, and I may demonstrate this later on a fretted bass and on a 4-string bass because it's so much easier to communicate that way. But here is the most important part of it for me, is going from 4, my 4th finger, to my 1st finger and starting all over again and doing it smoothly. So E flat, going back down, so occasionally you hear a little whistle as I'm shifting. That's something I practice. So I actually practice. This looks silly. There's no real reason to do this in performance. But as far as a shifting exercise, if I go 4 to 1 and practice that over and over again, I get better at it. It becomes more smooth and I'm able to do it quicker. So I'll do this. Let's go on an A. So I'm going to do quarter notes on the A, and then I'm going to shift to B flat on my 1st finger. Why would I do that? Because if I'm still moving up the instrument, I will want to be able to make that smooth shift. So I might just do this over and over for a while. Quarter notes. 1. Make those notes longer, so it gives me less time to shift. 2 notes. 1. 1/8. So why do all of that? It looks like a lot of work. All it does is make this easier. Or even faster. Easy, right? Shifting, chromatic scale, fingerings, all important. Here's that chromatic scale on a 4-string bass with frets, which makes my life a lot easier in so many ways. Starting on the E flat on the D string. As you can see, that shift from 4 to is so important. I did it here. Ooh, this is a good exercise. I forgot about this one. Yeah, this is a great shifting exercise. If I do one, now there's no reason in the world to ever do this unless you're playing in front of an audience and want to look really cool and just go. Playing the same note over and over again when I could just go. But 1 to 4. So I'll go 1 to 4, which gives me good shifting practice, but every couple of times I'm going to go down a half step, then down a whole step, a minor third. It gets harder and harder. And I'm going 1 to 4. Now, it'd be so much easier just to go. And if I were recording it, I would do it that way. But if I'm learning to shift well, sometimes it's a mechanical process of just getting better and more accurate and more consistent. So I'll do this. C, 4. Now I'm going to go to B. Now B flat. Now to A. Now to A flat. Actually, I cut my finger one time doing that. My left, I'm just remembering this now. Don't get carried away. But it's great practice for just getting more familiar and shifting smoother. And if I don't have to look at it, and I can kind of visualize what my fingers are doing. I recommend doing that some too. People pick on me because I'll say practice in a dark room. It's not because the darkness does anything magical. It just keeps us from looking at our left hand. And ideally, when I'm playing, I like to be looking at the audience or looking at the people I'm playing with and not at my left hand. On a fretless bass, that doesn't always happen. Anyway. More chromatic scale. Warwick has some serious good tone. Who can argue with that? Here's a cool exercise. I think Victor Wooten's done some similar ones to this, but I'm going to use a big word. It's called diatonic. D-I-A-T-O-N-I-C. Now forget it. You don't need it. But it refers to all of the chords within a scale. So if I play a G major scale, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Now I do it on my E string. Right? So if I just add the thirds to each of those chords, which is essentially, I don't know if this makes it more complicated or simpler, but in my mind it's simpler. On the G string, my high string, if I start on a B and play the same G major scale, which would be B, C, D, E, and so on, but I do them together. It sounds like this. G and a B, that's a tenth. A and a C, B and a D, a tenth, major tenth, major 10th, minor 10th. So that's a diatonic scale in tenths. It sounds fancy, but we've all heard it. Diatonic scale in tenths. We can practice it in thirds. And going down. So notice I do it with my third finger on the low note and fourth finger or third, I'm sorry, I can't count. I do it with my second finger on the low note and my fourth on the 10th, or if it's a minor 10th, my second finger and my third finger. So 2, 4, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 4, it's major, major. Whoops. That's artificial harmonics. That's a whole nother lesson, but you have access to it. Hey all, this is Steve Bailey, and once again I want to remind you to please check out our YouTube channel, our socials, and while you're there, make sure you subscribe because there's all kinds of great content, education, information, entertainment, and edutainment, which is kind of like teaching and being funny at the same time. Don't know anything about that, but please check it out, and lots of love from all of us here at Warwick.